So the time has come. We get to play what has been rumored to be the next big looter shooter. Now, I won't go that far just yet as we've only had one day on the beta, but I'm going to show you some gameplay, tell you about the things I like, and of course the things I feel could do with a little bit of tweaking. Now, my thoughts on this are completely non-biased, but I do want to announce that I have been selected to be a partner creator with this title. But like I say though, this is going to be 100% honest because it is really important to give this feedback. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to help support us here on the channel, then please consider hitting the subscribe button, like button, and of course, leave me a comment in the comment section below telling me your favorite character or your favorite thing about this title. So what are my first impressions of the game? Well, bear in mind this is still in beta, as I keep saying, and things should be a little smoother and better when it releases in 2023. So the first impression for me was, well, I don't know why this is being compared to Destiny 2 or The Division. It literally has no characteristics from any of those games, apart from the fact that they are looter shooters. The game, in my opinion, is more like Outriders, but on steroids. So it's almost like they've took Outriders, looked at it and thought, how do we make this game better than Outriders? And they have succeeded. And I'll honestly say, with the beta for Outriders versus the beta for the First Descendant wins hands down. Yes, there's some bugs. Yes, it's pretty demanding on your PC. But for me, the gameplay and the feel of the game beats Outriders when that first launched. I'd even go as far as saying it beats Outriders when it launched officially at the very beginning. So that's, well, I mean, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. The game is, very early on and it does need some changes. But first, let's talk about graphics. So I play on a 3080 Ti GPU with a 5800X CPU, 64 gigs of RAM, and I've got a 1440p monitor with a 240 refresh rate. That probably means nothing to you console players, but it's a pretty decent spec PC. Now, every other game, my PC pretty much goes on the highest settings and it gives me good frames per second, and it works very well with no issues. This game, albeit it is in beta, did not work well at all on very high for me. One of my friends, in fact, can hardly play the game from his system because it jitters and stutters a lot. Now, that might be because it is in beta, and I know I do keep saying it's in beta, but we need to remember that this could all change. So for me, when I went on very high, it dropped down to 3 frames per second. That's even like, I think a Nintendo Switch has more than 3 frames per second, but it was unplayable basically. So, however, so I went into the settings, turned off motion blur. I don't even know why that's in any game. I don't know why. Who actually has motion blur on? Let me know in the comment section below if you put it on or off. But it went up to 8 frames per second. So still not playable, but it was a slight increase. Now with this, I do like the fact that they have an auto selection for your settings. So it scans your computer and selects the best settings for your computer. So I gave that a try. And this put us on the high setting, so not the very high, just a 1 down from that. My frames per second went up to around 120 frames per second on some of the cutscenes. It did drop to 30 on others, but I don't mind if it's a cutscene. And the game itself stayed at a steady sort of 75 or just below 75, which by no means is something to be moaning about. It just, I feel that when the game comes out, I want more from its graphics. So it's not a PvP game, so it doesn't really matter the FPS, but it is nice to have that FPS so you don't see any screen tearing, you don't see any blurring, you don't get any of that stuff. So, that being said, like I say, it's beta, and they might add more settings as they release the game. There are, of course, the normal settings in the beta, such as field of view, upscaling, stuff like that. So hopefully on launch, we'll customize, more settings like the lens flare, lighting effects, and be able to get the most out of those frames per second. But like I say, it's not a PvP game, so it doesn't really matter. As long as it's over 60 for me, it's worth having a PC. If I'm just going to play 60, I might as well just get a console. So the outcome of the graphics for me really hits about a 7 out of 10, and that's with the hope that it does change on release. So now let's talk about the gameplay. So the game feels pretty much the same as Outriders. The run and gun, roll around,
killing things to heal from the exception of you have to go and pick up their med packs off the floor to heal instead of just killing. There's not much need for ADSing in this, so aiming down sight. Your hip fire accuracy is pretty much the same, so you can just run and gun and hip fire, same as Outriders. And I also want to add here that the melee, or melee, how some people like to say it, seems very slow and sluggish in this game. So when you use it, there seems to be like a 1 or 2 second delay before you can use it again, which for me should just be instant in this type of game because we're surrounded by NPCs. We want to really just spam everything we can and kill them as quick as we can. Now, I do want to say the grapple rope is great. It's a great addition, and I can imagine this will certainly be useful for boss fights and avoiding NPCs. They do make you use it a fair bit during the story as well, so you have plenty of practice utilizing that grapple. Now, the jumping, on the other hand, isn't great. The double jump is more of a small bunny hop. But I would like to see a bit more oomph in the jump in the game release, and well, we'll be feeding back stuff to the developers as well. However, I do suspect this is why they've put in the grapple. They've put in that grapple hook so you can get to those high places rather than just putting in like a Call of Duty double jump. And also, like, I'd personally would like them to add cover. There's no cover in the game. You can't get into cover. You can't stop yourself from being overrun by bombers or NPCs apart from just grapple, or you can just kill. Cover, I know it is a looter shoot, it's a run and gun game, but cover for me is just a nice little added addition. And even if it steadies your aim a little bit, gets you out of trouble just for a second, I think that would be really good. So apart from them, the small things, the gunplay is super fun. For me, it's probably one of the best betas I've played for gunplay. It's very responsive. Sound effects are absolutely incredible. Whoever did those, kudos to you guys. You got the sound effects dead on. The headshots are crispy. It makes a lovely sound, and the gunfire is really, really well. And it does differ from machine gun to assault rifle to sniper. So they really did well on that aspect. The design of the characters, absolutely great. A lot of attention to detail. The reloading's very good. Everything seems very responsive. The movement, how the bullet spread and all that good stuff. What I will say is when I use a shotgun, I kind of was hitting people across the map with the shotgun. I'd like to see a bit of like drop off, but for this game, they're going to be close enough most of the time for you just to run and gun. And as I say, it is a run and gun game, so maybe they don't need to add that. So for me, gameplay, I'd give that a solid, I don't know, 7.5? Let's give it a 7.5 out of 10 for so far. But there are just a few little changes that I'd like to see added in. But apart from that, the gameplay was really good for me. I didn't have any trouble. Didn't get stuck. Wasn't like juttering. Wasn't getting stuck on things on the floor or invisible walls. So for me, it's already halfway there. So let's talk about the story and missions and what there is to do in this game. Well, it's of course limited because, as we've said a million times, it's beta. So I don't think it's fair that I do a full section on this. But my initial thoughts are that I hope they add more objectives. So for me, it's way too repetitive at the moment, such as, scan the area, activate the beacon, just waves of NPCs, or protect the signal. Pretty much that just rotates and rerunning the same few objectives over and over. But as I say, it's not for me to rant about now, because this is just it's just a little trial. It's a test of the game. There may be a million other things that they're adding into the game, but if they do watch it, if you are watching this, please add some more objectives, because it's going to get very repetitive and it's going to wear thin very fast. So overall, what are my thoughts? Is it the Destiny 2 killer? Is it the Division slayer? Is it the Outriders murderer? Simple answer is no, not for now. The game is amazing. It's very fun to play. I would very highly recommend it to anyone to try it. While it's in beta, try and get yourself a Steam code. I think you can do that on drops as well. If I do stream this, if you watch my stream for 15 minutes on Twitch, you will get a beta code sent to you. So ensure that you just go follow me on Twitch as well, as at EK1 Gaming. When I stream the game, I'll put drops on. You guys can get some beta keys so you can play it for yourself. But for me, it's got a lot of work to do to slay any of the games. You know, they need to keep up the great work because they are working very well. They're very transparent. They put out a list of bugs. They put out a list of things that maybe are not going to work properly in the beta. They're recognizing the community, and they are, of course, doing their best to make this game better than its competitors, such as Outriders. They do need to make sure it's not too repetitive, and of course keep us going with content. Unlike Outriders, which of course made the awful mistake of making people wait so long just for a few missions, a lot of the player base dropped off. If I was going to rate the game now, and bear in mind this is day one, I've been playing for a few hours, it would get a solid 7.5, which really is a game worth playing. You know, I will continue to play this game. I'm going to play it for the whole time the beta's out because I really want to get into those rooms. I want to get into the next levels, the next steps, leveling up and doing all that cool stuff. So of course I'm going to cover this on the channel for the beta at least. And I'll be bringing you videos on different sections of the game, best settings, different things that you can do within the game, and things that you might want to know for when the game releases. So don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button. Leave me a comment in the comment section below if you've got any thoughts on the game. Have you seen the footage in the background here? Have you seen other people's videos? What's your thoughts? Have you played the game? Just let me know in the comment section below. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching the video to the end. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.